everyone, and welcome back to 305 Insights. I'm your host, Alan Somerton, and today we have the unfortunate task of wrapping up the University of Miami's regular season. There will be no ACC championship berth as they fall at Syracuse 42-38. Syracuse finishes the season 9-3. I'm not sure if many people realize how potent of a team Syracuse was, but now they do, obviously. And UM finishes the season 10-2 after starting off 9-0. Obviously, this goes without saying. However, I will say it. This is a disappointing season for the Miami Hurricanes. You can paint over it as much as you want, saying this is the first 10-win season since that Mark Richt season in 2017, I believe it was. But starting off 9-0 and then finishing 1-2 in your last three games is not the way you wanted the season to finish. That being said, let's just dive into a little bit of the statistics and then we'll offer up our takeaways of this game. Cam Ward had a pretty productive day. 5 rushes, 19 yards, 25-36, 349 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Damian Martinez, in my opinion, should have gotten a lot more carries. He had 10 rushes for 84 yards and a touchdown. I believe the one play that was taken was like a 60-plus yard TD run that was taken away by a ticky-tacky holding call. Mark Fletcher, 13 for 46 with 2 touchdowns, and Jordan Lyle, 3 for 5. 2 wide receivers had a massive game. Xavier Restrepo, 9 for 148 with a touchdown. Jacoby George, 6 of 121. Elijah Arroyo had 5 for 44 with a touchdown. Cam McCormick, 2 of 14. Isaiah Horton, 2 of 13. And Mark Fletcher, 1 of 9. And I think just from the offensive perspective, you knew that this game was going to be a shootout. And the second half didn't go as planned. I mean, let's also factor this in, folks. UM was up 21-0 in the second quarter of this game. And at halftime, they were up 21-14. And they didn't lose the lead until late in the third quarter. But again, they only scored 2 touchdowns in the second half and a field goal. And you knew this game was going to be a shootout. And it just didn't come to fruition. And the turning point of the game was when, you were going back and forth for momentum. And again, like I said, it was 28-28. Xavier Restrepo has a tunnel screen, and Devin Grant makes the concerted effort to punch the ball out from Restrepo's hands. It pops out into his hands, and he returns it for a 56-yard touchdown. Now it's 35-28. Syracuse is all the momentum. The next part that I think obviously played a massive part in this game, Jacoby George has a penchant over the years for making unfortunate decisions to allow for these referees to throw the flag on him. On the 8-yard line, 2nd and goal, Jacoby gets an unsportsmanlike penalty. Now the Hurricanes are in a 2nd and 23 situation. Basically. This is where the decision was made once Cam Ward got tackled trying to rush the ball in. And they were about 10-yard line, 8-yard line. They decided to go for a field goal. with 3 minutes and 42 seconds left, with the way your defense has been playing, Mario Cristobal said the analytics said we need to go for the field goal. And that's the last time he touched the ball. So he kicked the field goal to make it 42-38, and that's it. I mean, this defense really wasted a special season from Cam Ward and company. The defense was on the field for 2 drives in the fourth quarter, and they didn't stop them in either one. The first drive came after, the offense managed to tie it up 35-35 with 13:02 left. And in a few short minutes, Syracuse was able to pick up some first downs to get the ball to midfield, followed up by a 29-yard pass completed on O.J. Frederick. And then pass interference on 3rd and 8, touchdown run. The other opportunity came with 3:42 left, 2 timeouts, 3 runs, 2 first downs, and then Ahmad Moten had an inexplicable offsides penalty by jumping the gun early and knocking the center over. Hurricanes used their final timeout with 1:49 left. Then Syracuse got a 11-yard run for the first down, 2 kneel downs, game was over. O.J. Frederick and Darryl Porter were absolutely obliterated all game. Jackson Meeks had 7 for 110 with 2 touchdowns, and Trevor Pena had 6 for 128 with a touchdown. For some reason, I don't know why, but this defensive crew led by Lance Guidry, for some reason, just doesn't want to make adjustments. And you think that being in man coverage a lot is going to help when the proof has been in the pudding for weeks and this hasn't happened. Mish Powell, Jaden Harris, Markeith Williams, Saquon Patterson, all 4 of those safeties didn't really help with Kyle McCourty. I believe he went 10 of 13 in the second half. He had 3 incompletions in the second half. And just this vaunted defensive line just wasn't there either. Again, McCord's total statistics, 26 of 36 for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. The running game was okay. LaQuint Allen, 22 of 82 with 2 touchdowns. As a team, they had 32 for 102 and 2 touchdowns. But overall, again, just 482 yards of total offense allowed by the defense. gained 503. You lost the penalty battle, 9 penalties for 77 yards to Syracuse's 4 for 36. You won the time of possession. Turnovers were both the same, but the difference was one led to an actual score directly, and the other one didn't. Syracuse converted 7 of 10 of its third down opportunities. Coming into the game, they had completed 44%. Yeah, and then Miami had allowed 38.9% of its third downs, which ranked 10th in the ACC. On third down possessions, McCord was 6 of 7 for 68 yards and 5 first downs. Also, a very subtle statistics. On third downs, they had an average of 4.4 yards to go. They never faced a third and long situation the whole game, which is 9 yards or more. Again, that 44% conversion rate is in conference play. The 38.9% is in conference play for UM and Syracuse. Just, again, a season that had a lot of potential after the first game. A season that had a lot of potential after 9 games. A season that still had potential coming into this week with only 1 loss. You win, you're in. You face SMU and Rhett Lashley in the ACC championship game. You stamp your ticket to the college football playoffs, the inaugural 12-team playoffs. And you don't do that. For sure, you're going to make a bowl game, obviously. If there's any indication from the AP poll that came out today, fell all the way to 14th. 14th, folks. It's behind a 3-loss Alabama. That's behind a 2-loss Arizona State, who won the Big 12. That's behind a 3-loss South Carolina team. It was all on the line, and you came up short. And again, I know you can label this season as a success if you look at it from certain perspectives. They went 5 wins in Cristobal's first year. They had 7 wins last year. Now you have 10. But you're going to lose a lot of high-end talent from this team. You cannot replace a Cam Ward with the snap of fingers. Damian Martinez is probably gone. Now you still have Fletcher and Jordan Lyle, so you can kind of compensate for that. You're losing Restrepo. You're probably losing a few tight ends. Elijah Royal's probably going to go. I can't believe Cam McCormick's going to get another year of eligibility. That will be his 10th year, I believe. 9th or 10th, one of those. It's going to be an interesting offseason for UM. How will they regroup and push, again, for this right here? The very least that you can take away from this season is going forward, this is the standard. 10 wins, 10 wins, 10 wins, minimum. That's the only thing you can take away, because this schedule was very easy to deal with. You didn't run into a Clemson. You didn't run into SMU. You had to deal with Florida State, and Florida State's obviously down. And they're going to be down maybe for a few more years. And you just had to contend with a Louisville here, a Georgia Tech there. And you didn't. Yeah, you beat Louisville. But you got physically outmatched by Georgia Tech. And when push came to shove, this team didn't respond. That's the only way to put it. You cannot lean on this offense so much as to where they just have to have the ball last and outscore everybody. That is not a recipe for success. The cardiac canes were a thing for a bit, but sometimes you just run into a team that actually has some talent to match up with you. And with Coach Brown at Syracuse and some of the talent that he brought in, i.e. Kyle McCord, Fadel Diggs at the defensive end position, and a few other people as well, you really saw what he can do at Syracuse as a coach. 9-3 is pretty impressive. And that got him into the AP Top 25. So congrats to them. Just again, you got to tell your kids, you're preaching all that, finish strong, finish strong, finish strong. Game-wise, you're talking about games. How can you do that when, as a coach, you're not doing the same thing as well? And that's the crazy part to me. Mario Cristobal's November record at Miami is 4-8. In 2022, he was 1-3 with a win versus Georgia Tech. 2023, he was 1-3 with a win versus Boston College. And in 2024, he was 2-2 with wins versus Duke and Wake. Yeah, it's just... It's tough, folks. It's tough. So we're going to have a podcast again, like we talked about previously in the FSU one, about the recruiting classes possibly what's going to happen in the future with UM. Keep an eye on the transfer portal, college football playoff rankings, early signing day. A lot of stuff going on, folks. A lot of stuff. That being said, we'll kind of wrap this one up because, again, I think we should have a separate podcast on UM based off of what happens in the college football playoff rankings. Nothing's set in stone yet, so once that's completed, we'll probably revisit how we view this season so far, or how it completed and whatnot. That being said, folks, you know the drill at the end. YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Like, subscribe, follow, turn those notifications on. Get my voice flowing through the speakers, flowing through your Bluetooth. However you may consume us, I thank you. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening to this episode. And we'll catch you next time here on 305 Insights. Have a good one, folks.